Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be starting in about 4 minutes. Please make your way to your seats. We'll start in about 4 minutes.
You putting your phone on vibrate? Okay. Is that the last screen or is this the first screen? Is this what's supposed to be up?
That's the last one.
Yeah.
You just tell me when you're ready with the PowerPoint and I'll go from there. How about that? Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you guys for being here. If you're joining us on YouTube, on our website, thank you for joining us. I'd like to start by saying that we have some obligations to meet with the Open Meetings Act because we do have a quorum here as a council. So we treat this as a public hearing or a public meeting or like a council meeting. So we have some rules that we have to abide by. That's why we set a time limit. We're going to try and stick to that 1 hour out of respect for your time and the guests that we have up here as well. We'll probably go over on that because the mayor gets to talk and he's got a lot of really good things to say, so we're not going to shut him up. You're welcome for that. The Open Meetings Act, it protects citizens from public gatherings without you knowing what's going on. So that's why we do that. And we're considered kind of in session because we have the quorum here, so we have some rules that we have to abide by, and those are that we're going to keep order. You were given notes, sheets of paper when you came in. If you have any questions, please write them on there. Melanie, Paula, some of our other staff will be around to pick those up, so you don't even have to get up. Just wave them in the air. We'll make sure we get them, and we'll address those at the end. So I'm Jenna DeYoung. I probably should have introduced myself. I'm the city clerk here. That's why I care about rules. I like rules. I like to abide by them. And we also have several elected officials in the room. I hope we caught them all. We try to catch them all coming in, so I would like to thank them for being here. Your Madison County Coroner, Nick Novasic, is here. Madison County Board Chairman, Chris Slesser, is here. We have our elected aldermen, alderpersons, Jerry Harrington, Brad Evanson, Randy Lemaster, Kim Pearson, Dan McDowell, Mary Davis, Jason Smith, Greg Garcia. I think I got all of them. And then we have our township supervisor. She's on here somewhere. Margaret Shipley is here. I think I got everybody. If I didn't. So thank you all for being here, for taking the time to come to the Mayor's Listening Series. There's a lot of good information that is going to come from everybody that's up here. We've worked hard in the clerk's office to make sure that we're abiding by all the rules that we have to abide by and being more transparent with the way that we progress the information that comes out to you guys with our new website and some other things that we've done at City Hall. Touch on those later. But I'm going to turn it right over to my friend, my colleague, Mayor Parkinson, who has done the hard work at City Hall. Everything that I get to do is easy. It just shows up online and looks like it was easy to do. He's had to make all the hard decisions and do all the work that you guys really see every day. So without further ado, I'll let him take it.
Thank you.
Day by day, neighborhood by neighborhood, we're working hard to fix up Granite City for you and your family. Revitalizing downtown was just a start. You're getting ready to see big changes coming to the entire city of Granite City. From blight to beauty.
Thanks to $11 million in state and federal funding, Granite City will be updating the Namioki Business Corridor to attract new businesses and visitors to the city.
We're resurfacing neighborhood roads and large thoroughfares like Madison Avenue and Johnson Road, and cleaning and greening our neighborhood.
From flooded to fixed.
We're tackling flood problems head on.
By improving underground infrastructures and fixing the flooding in Granite City.
Funded by a $12 million grant to the city.
From average to awesome.
Improved bike trails to ride on.
Music in the park events all summer long. And one of the best live venues on this side of the Mississippi.
We're working together to create jobs in Granite City, enhance your quality of life, and make our city grow. Get ready, Granite. We've got a great future ahead of us. From flooded to fixed.
We're getting a splash pad, and you're welcome.
So not everything has to be serious, right? But I think the gist of that video and the reason we do them is it's very hard today to get information out to everybody. We can't hold these meetings all the time, but I think it's important that we get these out. This is in the movie theater, so if you go to our movie theater, you'll see these presentations that we do to try to get some of this information out. And it's just hard in today's world. We don't have a newspaper in Granite City, so I appreciate so much for this great turnout here and all those that are watching on social media. And Jenna sells herself a little bit short. We were in the Stone Ages in Granite when we took over, and we didn't have the ability to have these kind of meetings with social media and to be able to broadcast this to the greater masses that may not be able to get out and come to these meetings or out of town or working that can watch them on social media now. So she's done a great job of bringing us into the modern ages and having the ability to do these things. We're going to get into a little bit of where we've been, the making an impact in every ward. It's something I've talked about since I've been your mayor. Improving streets and fixed flooding, public safety, community pride, rebuilding neighborhoods and downtown, financial stability, and the Namioki corridor. those are the things we're going to talk about, some of the things we've accomplished and where we're headed. And I think you're going to be kind of surprised, really, at where we're at and where we're headed. Road improvements, we've started a 5-year street program. We're gonna touch streets in every neighborhood. And is this cutting out? Does it sound like it's cutting out? Okay, perfect. We're gonna touch streets in every neighborhood. If you look at the pictures in front of you, these are projects that we've already completed. Improving flooding in the Namioki Ditch Corridor. You can see the concrete culverts that we put in, a lot of pipes underground to control flooding. If you've been inconvenienced in your neighborhood or on your street of being blocked by construction, I give no apologies for that. That's progress, right? That's progress that this town hasn't seen in a long, long time. Digging up streets is the first priority to get the pipes fixed underground so that we do not flood again. And we have a lot more to go, but we've come a long way in 4 years. So if you live in one of those neighborhoods that was affected by the flooding in 2019, we've got you on a map. One of the major projects coming up is Madison Avenue. We're going to start resurfacing Madison Avenue. It's a $4 million plus project, partially grant funded, includes roadway resurfacing, stormwater improvements, new sidewalks, curbs and gutters, and ADA ramps. I want you to understand that anytime you do curbs, gutters, easy for me to say, you're getting into ADA projects, and you have to put the ADA ramps at every one, and we're trying to make those improvements on our main roads. We do have handicapped people in our community that are greatly affected by the lack of production in the ADA, so we're really working hard on major roadways to make it more accessible. In your neighborhoods, you'll start to see boards out here. You'll start to see surveys coming out. You can talk to your alderman to tell us the streets that are really bad in your neighborhoods, and we're going to start formulating those streets over the next 5 years and commit our street department that we purchase products for, that they can go out and do the work now to resurface your side roads. You'll see a difference in what we do on the side roads as opposed to what we do on the major thoroughfares. The side roads will be resurfaced with asphalt and overlays. Will still be quality roads. But we're doing a lot of that work ourselves because we can get more bang out of your bucks by doing it with our own guys. And we bought the equipment. We have great, talented guys. Some of them aren't very good actors, but we do have very talented guys that work in our public works office. Completed projects. This is the flood mitigation map from 2019. This was the source of a lot of our work over the last 4 years to make sure that your neighborhoods didn't flood again. In 1962, there was a bond referendum that was put on the ballot, and it was denied by the voters that would have fixed a lot of these problems. So for years, it was just Band-Aid after Band-Aid after Band-Aid. But we've looked for real opportunities in ways to get this fixed without doing a bond referendum or raising taxes. These are things that just go straight into quality of life issues in your neighborhood. I talked to a resident in the lobby earlier that talked about how she had to go in her basement and tread through sewage water from flooding. She lives in one of the neighborhoods that we put millions into to make sure that those people don't live like that, the Jill Joy area, St. Clair Avenue. St. Clair Avenue is going to be dug up again. We're going to keep fixing pipes until they're fixed and fixed right, so we don't have these problems in our city anymore that devalue our homes. $14.8 million in grant funded, no cost to the Granite City taxpayers. Projects that aren't possible without grant funding. One of the problems we found when we first came into office was that Granite City couldn't get grants. We didn't have the financial structures in place to comply with federal standards. It took us a while to fix all those things, but our great staff in finance fixed all those things, which allowed Paula Hubbard to come on board with us, which was probably the single best thing that we've done as an administration for you, and bringing Paula on board. Paula worked a lot of years at the Granite City School District, and Paula has been a go-getter for this administration in getting grants for us, grants that we've never, ever gotten in Granite City before. That's what's fixing these projects and funding these repairs for our city once and forever. Paula's, I think we're at a total of about $32 million in grants over the last 4 years, including ARPA funding. So Paula's done an outstanding job. So if you see her, thank her for that. Public safety. I was asked when I came to be the mayor, well, you were a policeman for so many years. What are you going to do different now that you're in charge? Well, I can tell you what we're going to do different. We're going to keep hiring policemen. We're not going to defund police. We're going to keep putting policemen out on the street, keep hiring firemen, and we're going to keep these homes safe and keep your costs down on your insurance. Because when you start losing public safety and you start losing your fire department and their ratings, your homeowner insurance will go through the roof. So big commitment to our public safety and police and fire. I will tell you that something I'm very proud of is over the last 2 years, we've seen a reduction in crime in Granite City in some drastic numbers. I believe the first year was 15%, and this year, Chuck, do you remember, a little less than 2%? Yeah, so in 2 years, we've seen a drastic reduction in crime, contrary to a lot of the things you see out in the public forums. Again, we bought a lot of aging equipment in both these departments that we've replaced. Aging fleets, 3 new ambulances, a 75-foot ladder truck at $1 million. Fire department communication equipment. Let me tell you about this. When I became the mayor, I found out that our firemen were in basements of burning buildings trying to save people and putting fires out, and they had communication equipment that they couldn't scream for their life if something went wrong. That's troubling to me, and we put the investments in through grants, and they all have brand new radios that now work, and we'll get them home safely to their family. PD body cameras. I get tired of hearing, really, I mean, I was in law enforcement forever, and I got tired of hearing all these stories from people about how mean our policemen were and how bad they were. We've invested in cameras for every one of the policemen. We're ahead of the curve on that. There was mandates put in place that were unfunded mandates by the government requiring us to have them. We got them right away, used grant funding for it. All of our policemen now wear body cameras, and it's a great benefit to them so that these allegations that are made against them can be looked into in real time with cameras. So we've invested in that. Police PD vehicles replacement. We've replaced an entire fleet of detective vehicles. We've replaced our 911 operations center to better serve you in emergencies when you need it the most. 2.9 million grant funded to cover the unfunded state mandates at no cost to Granite City taxpayers to save future expenses from our general fund so we can put those things into things like the roadways. Community pride. Listen, I mean, we've been through some tough times in Granite City, and it's taken time to get people to understand that we are a town on the mend. We are a town on a rebuild, and we are a town that's going to prosper once again. We made a great focus on clean, maintaining neighborhoods and using, our community standards. It just isn't good old Granite anymore. I hate that phrase. We've reduced rental property to 22% in this city. Down to 22%. Did you hear what I said? That's a great reduction in rental property, and that's what's driving a lot of the neighborhoods and bringing values back up is tearing down the blight and the blighted houses. We have a reduction in landlord licensing by 557 business license and landlords. A reduction. 557 landlords are no longer operating in Granite City. Listen, I'm not against landlords. I was one. I've had many rental properties. What I'm against is people that buy houses and put families in them, and houses that are substandard and shouldn't have any child living in them. I've been in them, I've seen them, and I don't want them in our community anymore. So that's why I'm very proud of those numbers. All of this at $3.4 million in grant funded, no cost to the Granite City taxpayers, equipment purchased to save future cost, and complete work in-house. We're tearing down a lot of these houses ourselves instead of having to hire it out at higher cost to you. So a great savings, all the equipment purchased with grant money. I want to introduce Matt Fund and Josh Bungen. They're with Fund Construction. We didn't just tear down all these houses for nothing, right? But all the houses we've torn down over the last 4 years, we've had a plan, but we've been waiting for the right opportunity and the right company to come in that we felt good about. I found Matt Fund's buildings in Edwardsville and other communities around the Metro East, and I've always been a big fan of him. I just didn't know who he was, so we found him. His partner is Josh Bungen. Josh Bungen's a Granite City native. He's born and raised in Granite City and went to Granite City High School, hockey family, like myself. But they're here to talk a little bit about what we're planning on doing in the downtown area. We call it infill building. We're going to start building houses on these vacant lots now, and we've got them as our developer to kind of lead us in that direction. There will be other builders as well. There's a lot of vacant lots now, so we're going to have other builders in a preferred list that will come in and set up business arrangements with us, and we will bid out lots at a time, maybe 5 at a time to these builders and let them start building. So introduce Matt and Josh, Matt Fund and Josh. So what we're talking about is rebuilding some of our historic neighborhoods. The Lincoln Place neighborhood, the West East Granite, downtown, all the way up to the Park District. You know, we've had a lot of problem with vandalism and crime in those neighborhoods with all these houses, and tearing them down and starting to build an infield of houses is the direction we feel we need to go. It will bring young families. It'll bring them here with the ability to afford and buy a nice house in a community. The school district has gotten on board recently with changing the school district back to neighborhood schools. When we talk to the realtors, and we go out and talk to realtors, we have meetings with realtors to ask them, why are young people not moving to our community? And the one thing they all told us is they didn't like the school system. They would love a house at a great price point. Taxes were fine, everything was good with that, but they didn't want to drive their kid across town, or one kid here and one kid there. It was inconvenient for them, so they would pass on the house. All of your elected people working together right now, from the county to the city to the school district to the park district, is benefiting you as taxpayers, and we're finally all working together for once. And moving the school district to a neighborhood school system again is quite possibly going to be one of the things that really changes our city for the better. So I'll let Matt and Josh talk a little bit about their thoughts on these types of houses that we're looking at. These are projects that they've already done. You guys explain a little bit what these houses are about and the square footage and those types of things, and why you think they'll be successful in our community.
Yeah, absolutely, Mayor. I want to thank you for having us here. We're really excited to be on the team. These designs that you see up here, these are pocket neighborhood designs that we've done in Edwardsville. They're contemporary, they're spacious, functional living spaces. They're energy efficient homes that specifically I think will really help the infill in the neighborhoods surrounding this downtown area. We've done a lot of work with the mayor's office talking about evaluating some certain target areas from City Hall up to 23rd Street, where there's a significant amount of concentrated lots that have deteriorated over time. And putting this infill infrastructure in there, I think, will really help raise property values and really bring the right people into this community. So I think that's really something that we saw as an opportunity and really attractive for us, and we're really excited to be a part of it.
Yeah, and if you look at their history, you know, they've done really good things in other communities of doing this type of project, and we were really looking for that new innovative build, right? So it's not the same old, same old. These are going to be market-based housing. They're not going to be low to mod. These are going to be people that have to get a loan and buy the property outright. But what we are offering to the builders is a tax incentive in the enterprise zones that they will be able to build these houses with tax-free materials. When they sell this house to a single-family homeowner, that homeowner will get 10 years tax abatement on that property, so they will only pay what the property taxes are set at right now for 10 years. So for a young family starting out, if you think about that, you don't have to pay a full tax bill for 10 years. That's a great incentive to come to Granite and buy a house and take a chance on one of our neighborhoods. So we feel this program will be successful. We feel like it's a great incentive to build here. We're the only ones doing it right now. It was a program that we started. Chris Lesser, when he was in his previous position, helped us get this through the county board, and all the taxing bodies are on board with it at this time. So we look forward to great opportunities with fund construction, as well as some other construction companies. We're looking at doing this project, starting out with the downtown region, working north to 27th Street, and then also moving to West Granite. Some of East Granite as well on all these vacant lots. So it all wasn't for nothing. We're just waiting for the right opportunity to unveil this program. It's been a project in the works from the day we tore down the first house. So I think we'll see great things over the next 4 to 5 years. How many houses do you think you guys will build at one time, and how many we're looking at over a year?
So it's really interesting. The amount of housing stock that you guys have just from in that corridor is roughly 2,000 houses, you know, so this is not a one-off, two-off deal. We're talking about 30 or 40 homes over the course of the next 2 years to really make an impact in that area. And that's really the exciting thing about this area, is that you have you've acquired so many properties. There's so much potential in those areas to do that large infill, which is really exciting.
we're looking forward to getting that started, and thank you for being here. The other thing, you've heard us talk a lot about the rebuild of downtown, and there is some opposition to that, and I've heard that. But what we have to realize is that I don't get to decide where funding comes from. I don't get to decide where grants from the state and the federal government come from. They put them out, Paula applies for them, and we've been very successful at getting this money. A lot of the money that's coming from the state right now is in the rebuilding of downtowns and main streets. Listen, I'm not going to turn down grants. I mean, when you look at a city, you have to start at the most troubled areas of the city and build up from there. You're only as good as your worst neighbor, right? Your house is only valued as much as the worst house on your block. So we have to build up from the downtown area north. So we're also talking about these buildings that have been here for 100 years are going to continue to be here for 100 years. Enough of them have been let go to the point where there's no return and they had to be demolished. What we're talking about is a strong downtown that requires strong neighborhoods around them, which is where these buildings come in, to preserve the historic downtown buildings that we still have. We need it to be a destination just like this building is. And have more restaurants and more nightlife down here, along with some mixed-use buildings. So what you see in front of you is some artist renditions of what the fund company is looking at doing and rehabbing some of the buildings downtown. So you'll see the Wedge building that sits across from 7-Eleven in the top picture. That's another view of it below it, and then you'll see the Callis office building in the middle, the biggest picture, and to the right you see Lascelles, which was once a vibrant restaurant in our community that COVID killed. So these are buildings that they're looking at remodeling and bringing back into some value for our city. You guys want to talk a little bit about some mixed use of those properties as it relate to even getting younger people that aren't ready to start a family and getting them to live in our community?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think another really exciting thing about Granite City is the downtown area. I mean, the bones of these buildings, the structure of your downtown is beautiful, and it's really exciting to look at the Callis building and the Ralph building in particular and see the layout and the ability for us to be able to easily place market rate apartments on the second level and have a lot of commercial spaces below, and it really ties together to the residential piece of this, because all those people moving here, right, whether they're buying a new home or they're moving into the apartment, they need somewhere to go, and they're going to want to go eat at a restaurant or go shop. And it really this multi-use concept, it really allows for the city and the development to go in the right direction to tie all those together. So it really is crucial, and these buildings again are beautiful. The downtown is really set up the right way, and we're excited to be a part of it to get them back to their former glory.
So it's a little bit more about, it's not just about downtown. It's about fixing decay and not letting it spread north, putting a firewall in, fixing up your downtown, having a vibrant downtown with walkability, with new houses going up around it, and getting that excitement back. All of this funded through a $3 million grant that started at Mardi Gras. It started with Katie Stewart walking around with me at Mardi Gras, and she said, I want to be a part of this, I want to help with this, and she allocated a $3 million grant for the city of Granite City to help with these buildings downtown to make sure they didn't decay any further. Again, $3 million at no cost to the Granite City taxpayers. Phase one, renovation of 20,000 square foot of existing buildings, commercial, retail on first floor, and potentially 12 market rate housing units on the second floors of these buildings. So looking forward to working with them on this project as well. And again, grant funding, great job by Paula again. Yeah, thank you. So I'm going to turn over, we've talked enough about the south end. Everybody's anxious to hear what we're going to do on the north end. It was unsettling to me to hear a lot of the comments and read a lot of the posts about they're doing everything on the south end, on the south end, on the south end. But I don't like to tell people things that we're working on, because a lot of the things do fall through. I worked for months on a new factory on Route 3 that would have brought 300 jobs. Chris and I worked on it together. And in the end, the land deal didn't get done, and we lost that project, and it went to another city in St. Clair County. So I don't like to talk about a lot of these things because they're business, right? And business is tough, and we work hard and we try to get deals done, and sometimes they just don't work out. But I'm going to turn it over to Kathy Hamilton. She is our economic development. She does a great job for us. She's going to talk a little bit about financial stability and the Namioki corridor. I think you're going to be really pleasantly surprised with the things that are coming on the north end of town. So, Kathy.
Thank you. As the mayor mentioned, my name is Kathy Hamilton. I've been on staff with the mayor for a number of years now, and we've aggressively hit a lot of programs in trying to make an impact on the community. And so the last time I stood before you when we had this meeting, one of the big topics that I had to address with you as a community is the status of our pensions. And I think on behalf of the mayor and the city council, I first want to thank you and the community for the grace that they allowed us to have that conversation. The most difficult thing that we can talk about as a community is our debt and our challenges and our finances. That conversation hadn't really been as open to the city. And so we took a big risk in being transparent and trying to communicate the challenges we really had last June. And so thank you for that. And what we're here tonight to do is to tell you the impact of what we did do. So the last time we had just sold the wastewater treatment plant, the mayor and city council had made the commitments to put money into the pension fund because at the time that was the biggest financial threat that this community had. And so what we're going to see right here is what is the outcome of that investment into the pension fund. So as we had talked about before, it's a statewide pension crisis. Pensions are a very emotional issue. As a staff member, the only thing I look at it is it's a debt of the city. The city has to pay that pension whether it likes it or not, regardless of the political issues, because it's a debt to us. And the state provides an interceptor opportunity for pension funds to basically garnish our wages if we do not pay it. So this was a black cloud over us that was going to come to fruition at some point. And before, the city had borrowed for its financing plan in 2017 some bonds to not only pay down its debt, but to also make its future payments. And then that ran out. So as a community, we had to look at, we can't issue more debt, so what are our options? And so once we did complete the transaction, the city did use experts for the actuarial analysis, the investment analysis to guide us onto how much had to be put into the pension funds to accomplish two goals. One of them to pay it down enough, and then another one to make our payments manageable moving forward. So that came into a $60 million result. We needed to put $60 million in order for us to really reach the goal that the state has required us, all municipalities, to do, and that's reach 90% funding by 2040. So we did put that in. The mayor and the city council is 100% aware of the burden that this has been put on, this inherited generational debt on this one group of citizens. You're not only paying the payments from 2017, but you're also going to be paying anything else as we move forward to really try to get these payments down. And so we did put into the fund like we said we were going to. And then you can see where our outstanding debt has moved to. So in 2021, this mayor and administration had a debt of $144 million. After the number of years and then the infusion of that money, we are now down to $39 million of debt owed. In order to meet the state requirement of 90 by 2040, at that time in 2021, we were only 31% funded. A lot of studies will tell you that you'll never recover, you'll never get there without a significant investment. We now currently are 77% funded. That is more manageable and will allow us to confidently meet our goals of being at least 90% funded by 2040. Our city payments in 2021 were $12 million, and we now have them down to $4.8 million, which is actually manageable. So when we talk about financial stability, the mayor and the city council are specifically focused on the finances and the stability of the community, because without strong finances, nothing else really matters. You don't have the money to fund your police departments. You don't have the money to put into the quality of life. And so it really all starts with a good, strong financial base. And so if we did nothing, you can see on there our payments through 2040 would have ranged from $9 to $17 million. And just from our concept, to kind of understand what that $17 million means and why it was so important for the council to make this decision, our general operating budget is $30 million. So at some point, half of our budget would have gone just to pay pension debt. And The only way to affect that much money is to go to the big three. So there would have been no option for councils but to significantly impact our service delivery and our safety of our community, and they would have had to have laid off in public safety, and that's police, fire, and public works. That's the only way that you can cut and manage that much. You can't save enough copy paper to impact that. So this was the challenges that was talked about for the last 3 years from the council, and this is some of the backbone that they had to do to make some of those tough decisions. So what we also did, and as an update, so you can understand the concept of how far we've come on the finances, just like you have a FICO score, cities have those FICO scores too. You will get them from Equifax or other places, but we actually have Standards & Poor's and Moody's that kind of give us ours. So I'll tell you that the credit quality of the city is very important, and so it impacts everything from our borrowing, and then it also just provides a third-party review of our finances. And so when we first started this project in 2021, we were BBB negative. They were going to downgrade us, and so you'll see a credit rating scale on the right. Where that red line is we were teetering right on, and they were going to downgrade us into junk bond status. Junk bond status means that you're a high credit risk, and more than likely you're not able to pay your bills. And so we were able to keep that off. Some of the challenges in our report was that the downgrade reflected city's inaction on improving its structural imbalance. We were not making forward progress. We were just kicking the can, and it was mostly due to the pensions. A lot of work came in with this group, up to 25, for us to go back to the credit rating. A lot of our ARPA money was spent on deferred maintenance, so the flooding, that would have not had any funding source. All of the improvements in the departments with upgrading of machinery, technology, all that stuff would have been general fund expenses, and all of that has been taken care of with that. The city now has its first operating reserve. The council approved a 6-month operating reserve for times that it can't predict its revenues, and so we are shored up that way. The voters approved the city's first finance director, and we also have capital improvement plans. And so there has been a strong focus on finance and trying to shore those things up and run our community really strong and really focus on those types of things. S&P reviews 227 Illinois municipalities, us included. And so you can see what their report said to us directly in regards to this. And it says the rating reflects our view of the significant recent improvement in the city's reserve and pension fund levels. Stronger management practices and more manageable pension contributions following deposit of the proceeds from the sale of the city's wastewater treatment plant into the pension funds. We expect these factors will promote greater financial stability for the city after a prolonged period of structural imbalance caused by the city's reluctance to raise sufficient revenue and poor pension funding discipline. So the credit ratings also recognize that we've done a good job at trying to straighten out this inherited debt that we've had for a long time. And I realized I need to wear my glasses. One of the things that was talked to the rating agency a lot was the pension plan. The pension plan has been on our website since September of 2024. It shows that we've modeled how the structure is for the payments until 2040. We are using some of our established revenue streams of our property tax. We will be using TIF recovery when those TIF districts expire, and those TIF districts are going to be U.S. Steel and SunCoke. They will be contributing to the increases in our payment plans moving forward. The backstop is going to be whatever monies we have left over. From the sale, and then 2017 review showed that one of the big reasons why those bonds previously did not last the 10 years that was expected was because of the market volatility. And so now we have a backstop, a safety blanket, and something to use in the future if we start to have some of those same problems we had in 2017. This council has said they only have one chance to get this right, and having that money there and know that they can use it to protect the taxpayers in future years is really important to them. So where are we at now that we've done this? Now that we've presented to the credit agencies, now that we have a third-party verification that we're moving in the right direction, is the final step for us, and that's the pension protection ordinance. We're in the process of putting that together now. It's still in process. The pension protection ordinance is really designed for the residents and for the pension funds. It's a whistleblower ordinance. It's not written for the council. This council has done a tremendous job in making those hard decisions, and they want to make sure that the future administrations do not mess it up. And so there's going to be a lot of accountability provisions in regards to public disclosures, public hearings, restricted use of funds. We expect the citizens and we expect the pension board to hold future mayors and councils accountable for the fact that this group has made the big sacrifices and is going to pay the debt, and you don't want 5 or 10 or 15 years from now someone to just kick the can down the road again and undo all of the work and the payments that have done so far. So that's really what is going to be happening soon. It will be posted, it will go through public debate, and it will go through the pension funds, to the pension boards for their kind of review and comment, and so we do plan on having that. But once again, we're going to look to you to hold everybody accountable. I think one thing we really got to talk about with these pensions and with this gray cloud that it has been over the city, and something that doesn't always get talked about on impact, is just the problems that this cloud would have put on us as far as economic development goes in the future. We would not have been able to sufficiently compete with other projects and talk to developers like so. I mean, you talk about the excitement of investing in this community. It's really hard to have that conversation and expect a manufacturing plant to invest $30 million and then not have any idea if you're going to be able to fund your police in 5 or 7 years. This would have been used against us, and now we have a plan in place to show that we are financially stable and we can handle our pensions when there's a lot of communities that aren't in the same boat. So we are excited to get this under control and at least keep managing and monitoring it as it moves forward. It will be a process. I won't want to say that it's stamped, done, and we never have to think about this again. That's not true. We do have to watch it and kind of keep moving on with it. So as we do talk about economic development, obviously you can see that this is the entryway. We talk a lot about being impactful, and we want to be impactful to the community. We want to change the community. We don't want to do any small projects. We want things to kind of change in a different direction. And a lot of that conversation started talking about this area and the entryway and the tone that sets for our community and what tone we wanted to provide. We actually own acreage on the east side of Route 203 before you get to the bridge, and we own about an acre on the west side of 203. And so we found out that when you talk about the entryway and where Granite City starts, it really starts kind of in this spot right here. And so we want to take the opportunity to find and create an impactful entryway, a statement piece, a regional identifier, just like the ketchup bottle or something similar that says you're in Granite City, and not do small projects, but to really envision something else. So when it comes to that, you can see that we're trying to think outside of the box. I do expect public debate on this. If everybody likes it, I don't think we've gone too far, basically. I mean, we're kind of trying to push the edge on what we want to do. And once again, this entry project with the Namioki Corridor is something that has been grant funded, and so is going to be a real opportunity to change the complexion and create a sense of space for the community. As we keep going, we go to the Namioki Corridor. This is one of our most important corridors for commercial activity. So what I'm going to do is in 2022, the city put together a rough assessment of the corridor. The corridor is a project that's going to be in flux for a long time, and we identified what we thought were threats and weaknesses for what was going on in the corridor. The Namioki Corridor is an important corridor because it has 450,000 to 480,000 cars per month that go through the corridor. And it also contains a lot of our largest shopping centers. So there's 621,000 square feet in the corridor of commercial space. This is Cavalier right here. You can see that they renovated that. We really started to push, and the mayor talked about good old Granite. We pushed them to put the building in a position that met shoppers' expectations currently. So parking lots, it was a demolition derby if you drove back there, so hopefully it'll be something a little bit different. Well, one of our challenges with all of our centers in that corridor is that their age. They are mostly built in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Centers usually have a 30-year life, and that's much more than that. One of the problems with development in a corridor here is everybody likes green development, new buildings. And so the most challenging development that we have is the repurposing of these buildings and getting them to a standard that our citizens want for shopping. We got a lot of feedback that citizens would rather go to another community to shop, and then that was troubling. So it really came down, when you looked at what were the challenges in the Nameoki corridor, it was our centers. It was the condition of our centers, and were they presenting the shopping experience that people had wanted to experience, and the answer basically was no. So we spent a lot of time up there. Right now we're working on projects that are going to impact 296,000 square feet in the corridor, and we're making progress. It's nowhere near where we want it to be, but we are making progress. Some other things that have been done in the corridor, or things that we had to do in order to be successful. This area had no incentives at the time, and so we had to expand the enterprise zone. We are very strategic, and we also are very conservative with our use of TIF districts, and so this didn't have anything to be responsive to developers, such as what we have here tonight, and it was really the key component we had to put in place in order for us to be able to maximize getting development into that corridor. When I say that we're conservative with TIFs, what I mean by that is that the city has actually gotten rid of TIFs, where a lot of cities were extending their existing TIFs up to 41 years. This community made the decision to not have a downtown TIF anymore. We've been requested for an expansion of TIF, which wasn't approved. The TIF we did for for Nameoki here was an extension of an existing TIF that only had 10 years left. We did not do a new one for 20 years. And so the mayor and city council are definitely focused on only doing incentives when they have to, and using them more in a structured and strategic way. Some other things that we have done in the corridor is that there's been more code enforcement. So some of the stuff that has some of the improvements and focuses on the corridor, the demolition of the Kmart car wash. So that was an attractive nuisance. That was a big deal for a long time. But a focus on things like the drop boxes, cleaning trash at the bus stops, just lighting that wasn't being turned on there, signage, old compliance with signage. It's the kind of stuff that it's a little bit at a time that starts to clean these things up, and it's a focus on the details, and so we have done some of that. Other things we've done is public safety. There are cameras all through the corridor for continued safety for our community moving forward. So the corridor, like I say, is not exactly where we want it to be, but it's not going to turn around overnight. We do have some exciting announcements, and I am going to turn it over to the mayor to introduce developers from the Nameoki corridor, so we can further tell you what's going to happen.
So I want to introduce Dean Caffiero with Penmark Properties. We've started a partnership with them in our shopping centers, and they've purchased the shopping center where Ollie's is and have made great improvements there. We're also proud to announce tonight that they have a contract to purchase the shopping center on the north end of town that has been let go to a point that we were talking about moving towards condemning it. We're very excited that they have a contract on that property and are looking at closing on it very soon. I will turn it over to Dean just for a little bit. Dean, to maybe tell them a little bit about what you're trying to do with that shopping center and where you think we'll go.
Hi, I'm Dean Caffiero. I'm from the Philadelphia area. I thank you for welcoming me to your town and to Illinois. By the way, if you ask somebody from my state how to say Illinois, they'll probably say Illinois. So I'm trying to correct them. I think you have to recognize the fact that you've got three very smart people on the stage here, with the mayor and Kathy Hamilton. I mean, what they delivered here with the savings that they're showing you and their vision for the future is just incredible. I think everybody should give them a round of applause. I think in the private sector, we couldn't afford them. So they're here because they want to be here and they want to make a difference to Granite City and your lives. And I think that that's something to really be recognized.
So what I want you all to understand is when we got these folks to come to Granite and buy this shopping center, it was at a time when a fitness center was closing in Granite City. And it was a great loss to a lot of people, and my phone was ringing off the hook. You have to save the fitness center. You have to save the fitness center. So these gentlemen and their company went and tried to save the fitness center, and they basically told them it just wasn't fitting their model anymore. They wanted bigger spaces and bigger gyms. So what they did, just to show us the kind of investors and partners that they are, they went and bought all the gym equipment and they became gym owners and kept that facility open for all those members. So greatly appreciate what they're doing there. Can you tell them a little bit about what kind of businesses you look at bringing in to fill some of the vacancies out there?
Sure. So we recognize the spaces like the Family Dollar and the Dollar Tree and the Ollie's. These are going to be big boxes no matter what we do. Right now, if you see where we have the Five Below, again, it's a big box. We have to fill those with big boxes. Potentially, they're going to be discount stores. What we'd like to see in the future, after bringing someone like a Five Below here, is to have the TJX brands. That would be like TJ Maxx, HomeSense, et cetera, right? They have 5 or 6 brands there's 5 brands that are super. So we were out of space on this side to do that. So at Crossroads, we think that we might be able to bring this type of a tenant to this area. The other thing is we really mentor and cultivate small businesses. Today, we have two types of businesses that are going to rent commercial real estate in a shopping center. We all know malls are extinct, right? You're going to have big box stores that are going to be discount. By the way, the Ollie's today, you can get Ritz crackers there for $1.99. I was going to buy a whole box of them, bring them home with me. Pop-Tarts, $1.99. So, I mean, it's just incredible what you can find in some of these spots. Because you're not going to get that at Schnucks. Schnucks has a beautiful store too, by the way, but you're not going to get that there. So, where was I? We're going to cultivate small businesses. We're looking for a business that's not going to compete with the big box discount stores and Amazon. If you're going to try to compete with Amazon, you're going to lose. So what is that? That's a restaurant. That's a hairstylist. That's a barber. Nail salon. It's a services type of business. Pet groomer. Maybe a certain type of, we have a tenant that makes their own pet food. And that's packed with people that come from all over to buy pet food. They have a pet deli. That's with fresh pet food. So we'd like to see businesses like this. So we're here to help mentor small businesses. So if somebody comes to us with a good idea that we think will be successful, that we think could also add value to other tenants in the space, we're going to work with you to give you free rent, to give you good signage, to help you with ideas. We may even work with some drawings. And if we see that you're willing to make a small investment, we'll make the investment with a small business. And I think that's really important today when we're talking about real estate. We talk about developers. We're usually known as the bad guys, right? But hey, we're not the bad guys. We're making the investment in this town. I'm not from this town. I want to be from this town. When we make the investment in a town, we do not sell properties. We're there forever. We don't sell. We buy a property, we own it. We're going to invest in that property. We're going to keep that property. We're going to do everything we can to value that property up and to make all of the tenants and all the people around us successful. If they're successful, we're going to be successful, right? So I think that was the answer to your question.
Yeah. So I will tell you that it sounds easy, right? It sounds easy to go find partners like these guys that are sitting up on this stage, but it's not. This is the third team that I've tried to do business with that shopping center. They just didn't work out. They weren't the right fit. I believe these guys are the right fit for our city, and they're going to do great things for us. So we really, really appreciate them being here and look forward to doing business. Do you want to talk a little bit about the grocery business? I know we're struggling with groceries. I hear all the time when I'm at Schnucks, we need another full-service grocery store.
So part of the plan to redevelop Schnucks, or to redevelop the Crossroads Center, you have to keep Schnucks. But Schnucks has already approached us for a discounted rent. Their lease has expired. We said, we'll give you the discount, but we want you to improve the store. We want you to make an investment. We'll make the investment with you, but Schnucks has the money. They can make the investment, unlike small businesses where we would try to help a little bit more. They can make the investment. But we want to see a successful grocer on that corner that drives traffic to that center. And I was in Schnucks, I wasn't in today. Last time I was in there, it was a great place. People were happy, the employees were good, they were stocking the shelves, things were cheap. And I like things that are cheap. I don't know about you guys, I like the Ritz crackers for $1.99. But Schnucks also delivers a value like that too. So we have to see someone like that be successful, and we have to keep them.
I think you're talking about Schnucks, but the
I'm sorry, I
Ruler
meant
Foods,
yeah.
And one thing he's discussed with them is better in the store, making it a more friendly environment. But if you look at the pictures, this is kind of what they're talking about bringing. If you look at the top, you see the condition of the shopping center now. And believe me, these gentlemen are going to have to put in significant investment to fix this property up. We know it's been neglected for so many years, and we've worked hard for 4 years to get to the point to have investors like this come in and be willing to take this chance and fix this shopping center up. If you look at the bottom, these are the renditions of what they're going to turn that shopping center into. So pay attention to the bottom and look at where we came from and where we're headed with this group. So I think you'll see great things coming for our shopping center in the Namioki corridor. So great to have you here. Great to have you as a partner. These guys flew from Philadelphia tonight to come talk to us and be here to talk about what their plans are for our city. So
Yeah,
great.
I flattened my arms really a lot to get here faster.
Yeah. And I am not a Philly fan, so we'll leave it at that.
I thought you were when I first came here. Rick,
No, I am
Rick
not.
was wearing a Phillies hat.
No, I did not. Absolutely not.
I thought he knew we were from Philly, but apparently he knew the manager from the Phillies.
But listen,
the World
I
Series.
may not like your sports team, but I like the way you do business, and that's all that matters to me. So.
That's right. We can always joke about the sports.
They've been talking to the fund group also about the rehabilitation of that as well. So again, having these kind of people come to our city, these are investors that we haven't seen in years. We've seen people buying things on discount and just trying to make money and not really put any real significant investment back into our city. What was the investment you guys put in just to get Five Below?
Yeah, I'm glad I was going to bring it up. So just to get Five Below, we had a bunch of problems. First thing is Five Below has non-compete, or rather the other two stores, the three stores there, Dollar Tree, Family Dollar, Ollie's, have non-competes that can't have similar stores to them like a Five Below, even though it's really a completely different store. But there's a non-compete. Five Below is listed specifically in the non-compete. We made a deal to get Five Below in there with them. So that basically what happens is if they're in a center where they have a Five Below and they have a non-compete with a Dollar Tree, we're gonna make a deal where they can let a Dollar Tree in there, and then Dollar Tree lets the Five Below in our place. So that was 9 months ago. We spent $800,000 on Five Below. We have to use their air conditioners. We have to use their contractors to polish the floors. We have to use their lighting. We have to use their whole look, and it's not cheap. You know, we could have probably done it a little bit cheaper. I mean, I'm glad that we did it their way. I want it to look just like a Five Below. Obviously, that's what they want. But it's $800,000 of construction costs, plus all of the headaches to get there, like we talked about. It's a wheel and deal in order to get a Five Below when you have the other stores in the center.
Yeah, so you can understand the significant investment that these investors are coming and putting into our city, and it's some of the most significant investment we've seen outside of Weber Chevrolet and Weber Ford and the investment they've made on the Route 3 corridor, you know, some of the investments in the downtown companies that are manufacturing. But these are significant changes to our community that we've been waiting for. So again, thank you all for coming. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's fun. It's fun being in Granite City. It's really nice to meet everybody here. Thank you.
Thank you. I will say, and we'll conclude, and we'll get to some questions. We do have PVAG outside. They are helping us develop a whole plan, a new plan for the city development that hasn't been done in many, many years. We have some boards outside for your participation so we can gather some information from you all. We have this form up here for you guys to send any other questions in. If you'd like to leave a name and number, if we don't get to all your questions, please put your name and number on. I'll be more than happy to call you back over the next few days and answer any questions you have, because obviously we're not going to have time to get to everybody's questions tonight. But please take the time when you leave here, talk to any of these gentlemen. They're going to be sticking around. We'll all be sticking around for a little while. But there are some sticker boards out there. Please take the time to go through those and give us your valued opinion so that we can make informed decisions in the future. Kathy, okay.
I told you guys there would be some really good information. Even some of it I learned here tonight. So there's so much activity that goes on a day-to-day basis in City Hall. I mean, literally, you'll see building and zoning in the treasurer's office, me in the risk management office. We're just all over because everybody's working on such big projects, and they all work so well together without getting in each other's way. So you see some of the results coming up. I had no idea this much was going on in the Five Below and how much that project cost. So even I learned this evening as this information comes in. So it's Rome wasn't built in a day. And I'm going to tell you, making progress at City Hall does not happen overnight either. The building was built in 1929, so just the projects that we do to upgrade things is quite the hassle. Okay. Questions? What is being done to deal with the blight caused by the lack of upkeep surrounding the steel mill areas? Those streets are a disgrace to everything else the city is doing. So that, I think that goes kind of. I'm going to let the mayor answer that one. You have your.
Is that working? No, I'll have to come over here. So the steel mill is kind of a finicky cat right now. There's a lot going on with the steel mill, a lot of talks going on in Washington, D.C. We've actually, Chris and I have talked about trying to get in touch with the president himself, who visited here not too long ago to help get our steel mill started back then. We're in constant talks with the labor unions there. The ownership there is being very tight-lipped. We sent a very strong message to them on this issue not too long ago. We sent building and zoning out. They spent their entire day going around the steel mill property and writing citations to them. The one thing I will not tolerate is if we can't save U.S. Steel here in Granite City or save all these jobs, the one thing I will not tolerate, and we will fight and spend money like you've never seen to fight them to make sure that they don't turn our town into a rust belt like they did in Pittsburgh when they abandoned them. So we are in a strong fight with the labor unions here and with our workers here to get what's best for us here in Granite City. We're hoping that we can save the steel mill here and the industry here. Our government has worked together on both sides of the aisle recently to end what I thought was a very bad deal for Americans. So there's a lot going on with U.S. Steel. It's a slow process. We don't know what the outcome is going to be. I would love to be able to sit up here and tell you that we're going to be able to save all these jobs, but the answer is I just don't know yet. But we are working on that daily. I'm in contact with them on a regular basis. Chris Slusser and I, the county chairman, have talked about it quite a bit, and we'll be working together to do whatever we have to do to make sure that that blight doesn't stay here.
This one you kind of addressed, but we will. What is the state of the steel mill? I'm sorry, I didn't listen to his whole answer, so I'm assuming he answered that one. I was trying to read. I don't multitask well. Are there any plans to develop new industry in Granite City?
Yeah, there's a lot of interest in that. One of the things that we're working on too is just looking at what life's like after the steel mill, because we have to prepare for that. At some point, this plant may go away. I don't know whether it'll be sooner or later, but we are looking at development plans for turning those areas back into Brownsfield and forcing them to pay for that, for the cleanup, so that we can put more industry on top of where the steel mill sits as it is currently today. The plans that we've seen for them, if they do depart Granite City, would be a lot of the area that would no longer be in production. So we want to hold them accountable and get them to return that down to Brownsfield so we can put industry on top of it. We have managed to get the one family that owns most of the land on Route 3 to finally put that land up for sale. They were part of the deal that fell through on a 300-person job manufacturing plant of primers for bullets. That deal fell through, and the land deal fell through. So we do have them at the table and willing to talk to people. Chris Lesser and I are working on a plan for the whole Route 3 corridor from Alton to Venice to really develop Route 3 into a business boom for the whole county. So these things take time. We are working on them daily. again, we have a lot of leadership that's working together in Madison County for the first time in a long time, and it's great to see. So I would look for things to start happening out there. I know that Weber is looking at expanding out there on their wedge with their truck center with some significant investment there. You have to understand that when you look at economics of that, when you're talking about losing Shop and Save and Kmart, the amount of money that Weber put back in our community made up for more than what we had in those two venues or those two stores. So the significant investment by Weber out on the Route 3 corridor has been great for the city. It's a lot of tax dollars for us, and they're getting ready to reinvest out there. And we're always looking for new business. We're always looking for new investment. We have a lot of friends throughout the state that are now promoting Granite City and sending people to us. So believe me, if there's a deal to be made, we'll make it.
I hear this question a lot, and I don't know the answer, so let's ask the mayor. What's going on across from Weber Chevrolet? What's being built?
So that property is individually owned by a construction company. They're going to be involved on a lot of the upcoming work. I didn't even touch on that. Going to be a whole lot of new construction on Route 3 as well. It's a state project that will revamp the whole Route 3 corridor. The entrances to Walmart and the entrance to Aldi's out there is a death trap. We have a lot of deaths out there. So we're working on a developmental plan to restructure Route 3 to slow traffic down out there to make it a more safe environment. I don't let my kids drive out there. So we're really working on a safety plan out there and restructuring that with IDOT to make a better area out there. What he's doing out there is simply just making land for us to put construction equipment on when all this starts. So I think you'll see a lot of that coming in the very near future. Construction starting on Route 3. I think in the more distant future, you'll start to see redevelopment of the whole exit on Route 3 from 270, a complete new project there, so that we can all work together to try to build more industry and more business along the Route 3 corridor from, like we said, from Venice to Alton. So
there are two or three questions that kind of address the same issue, so I will sum them up in out of respect of time. With the overnight warming location, which is the Owl Center, if you haven't heard about it, check it out. It's doing amazing things out there. With that being open this year, how wonderful was the help from the citizens and business giving their support? I agree, 100% was amazing. Does that make you feel good as a mayor? And who helped get this started? And with along those lines, is there a comprehensive plan to continue this in collaboration with the city? And is there any budget allocated or grants that could come in to help with that?
So Reverend Warren is here, I believe. Are you still here, Pastor? Here you are. Stand up for me. So in any community, there's a delicate balance when you're dealing with homelessness and you're dealing with drug addiction, alcohol addiction, and general problems. These are problems that I've faced for years as a police officer. And it's a delicate balance because nobody wants it in their neighborhood. Nobody wants it in their city. Nobody wants to be the people that take on this challenge. So one of the things that we're working on, and it started with the pastor walking into my office, is listening, right, and hearing each other. And one of the things I spoke of is if we're going to do it in Granite City, we have to do it in every other community. So we've seen them open in Alton, Edwardsville, and Granite City now. And again, I keep talking about people working together, but Chris and I talk a lot, and we do work together. And we're talking about pushing an agenda to have every city participate in this program and keep this program going. As a police officer, I had friendships with numerous homeless people that were living on our streets. Some of them chose to be that way, and some of them didn't. Two of which died, froze to death. These are people that I would go find when I was on the street patrolling these neighborhoods, and I would go find these people, and I'd make sure they were okay, and I'd give them money, sometimes for beer, I won't lie, but a lot of times for food. I would just make them eat, and both of them were found froze to death in our city. So when this idea of this owl came to my desk, I immediately jumped on it and thought it was a great idea, a great way to run it. And I will tell you, to this date, it's been open, Pastor, how long? 2 months. It's been open 2 months. I haven't had one complaint. Not one. So I do believe that we can expound on it and do it the right way and build on it throughout the whole region. Actually, I think it's a great plan the way it's run. It has not affected the neighborhoods. We have not seen encampments that have come from it. There were 2 incidents that were reported to us that people were dumping them here from other cities. Those were looked into, and it turned out to not be factual. They were residents from Granite City that were given a ride back down to Granite City. You know, we saw reports of bus loads of people getting dumped off at the library. I had my police department look into that. We found no credible information to that. I've had no complaints about it. We have to open our eyes and understand that we all have to work together as a community. I don't want to be a dumping ground for every community in this area. I don't want Granite City to be that. I don't want it to be, just take it down to Granite. That's the last thing I want. But we also have to be compassionate for some of these people and try to get them into programs that can help them and get them off the street. So great job to you, Pastor.
Two more. I'm going to give you 2 more. What kind of opportunities does Granite City have for a progressive 30-year-old woman who wants to be involved in the future of the city? Come see me. Go ahead.
Well, I think you can get involved with a lot of things in our community. There's a lot of things going on. We have a lady that got involved with our community. There was a big outcry for Christmas decorations and a big blow up on social media. And honestly, as being a very fiscal responsible person and with our money, it wasn't something that I could expend money for. It wasn't budgeted. And it wasn't something that I saw as, it was a want, not a need, right? We have a lot of needs in our community right now. So I really had to say, I just can't do it, I'm sorry. But what I asked was, is there anybody out in the community that wants to take on this project? And Nina Jackson took on that project and got a team together and ended up buying ornaments and raising money to buy ornaments for all of Madison Avenue. The electrical problems took a little extra long. These old poles on Madison Avenue just didn't want to cooperate. So we're looking to have them all lit up by next year. And she's now reported that she's raised more money and moving up to Namioki Road too with more ornaments for next year. So if you're looking for opportunities to get involved, please come see us. You know, we're always looking for volunteers to serve on committees. We're always looking for people to take on projects. I love community involvement. The pastor and I are working on some projects together. You know, Nina worked on that project very diligently. So there's plenty of opportunities to get involved. We're always looking for volunteers. We also have purchased neighborhood cleanup trailers. So if anybody wants to take on a project of just going and finding a neighborhood, and we'll give you the trucks, we'll give you the materials, we'll drive it out there for you. You can get a group together and go clean up a neighborhood or just pick up trash in a neighborhood. There's all kinds of community involvement. All you have to do is pick up the phone and call us. All paid for with grants, by the way.
There was another question about better communicating with the senior citizens. That's something we're always talking about. We're trying to figure it out too. We don't have a paper. Chances of us getting a paper, probably not great. So I'll answer that one on your behalf, that it's hard.
I will say something about that I think one thing we could do better is communicate with the township. You know, they have a great direct line with the elderly in our community and the housing authority as well. So I think that's one thing we could do better is just have a little more effective communication. It all starts with that. Jenna is right. It's very hard for us to communicate with all you guys. You know, everybody's not on social media. So we're trying to improve these websites. We're trying to hold more meetings like this. I am just ultra impressed with how many showed up here tonight to hear what we're doing. I greatly appreciate you being here tonight. I think my team has worked very, very hard for this city and have accomplished quite a few great things in moving our city forward over the last 4 years. I think that the programs we're putting in place and bringing in these new investors and getting the city moving in the right direction is clearly evident here tonight. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate you all being here to hear it firsthand, so we don't get this information through third parties that don't have factual information. So my phone is always on. I try to return every call. Sometimes we have bugs at City Hall where messages do get lost. It's part of the old system we're working on. But my door is always open. I am a very busy man. Sometimes you can get in to see me, and sometimes you have to make an appointment, but I will see you. I will take your phone call, good or bad. I get people that call me that just want to scream up and down at me, and I'm okay with that. It's a job I took on. I got screamed at many a times in 26 years at that police department, so I can certainly take it as the mayor. You know, we are open for communication. We have these boards out here. We have numbers to call. We have submittal forms online. We do listen, and we want to hear from you, and we want to hear from what you think we can do better, or what else you would like to see in your city. So we are making efforts in every district. Really look for these roadway projects, look for things to improve in our shopping districts. Having these guys here for you to hear it from the horse's mouth is important to me. So you understand the type of people we're looking for to do business with. And I think you can see the caliber of people that we're getting in business with, and it's great for our community. So any other questions?
Yeah, I have one.
Great.
Speaking of that, I did get a message on my phone that we have over 50 people watching online tonight on the YouTube, so that's a huge win for me. Huge win. So excited. I mean, it's a great way to get information out if you can't be here. Last one I'm going to ask this. I think this is a tough one, but let's go with it. You mentioned grants and how much we've gotten through the city, which has been a lot, and I agree with him that Paul has done great on that. What do you think is going to happen with those with the new president, and how do you think that's going to affect us overall? Are we going to continue to be able to get those grants, or are you worried they're in jeopardy? That's a hard one.
Well, we have, when some moves started being made in the White House in the last couple of weeks, some things got shut down pretty rapidly, and I think those things were adjusted right off the get-go. You know, we did look at our grants. The majority of our grants are state grants. They're not pass-through grants. And when I say pass-through grants, it's federal money that's passed through the state to the communities. The majority of our grants are state-funded grants, so I don't see any fear of that unless the government stops funding the states in any way. But most of the grants we're receiving are state-funded through state tax, not through federal tax, so I don't see any fear of that right now. You know, listen, folks, this is a time that we're more divided in this country than I've ever seen. I've said this every time I talk to people in public. I don't care about Democrats and I don't care about Republicans, right? I don't. I care about doing a job. I care about turning a city around. I've lived here for 45 years. 45 years I've lived here. And I'm not going away. I'm going to be a fixture in this community just like you all are. I care about this community or I wouldn't be here. I don't have to live in Granite anymore. I can go wherever I want. I can move. I could do whatever. But I choose to be here because I see a vision for the city, and I want to see it through, and I want to see the city turn around just like all you do. I want your houses to be worth more. I want your streets to be fixed. I want your sewage to be fixed. The water bills. Folks, I'm doing everything I can to try to mitigate this issue with Illinois American Water. Very little of your water bill has anything to do with the sale of the wastewater treatment plant. Understand that. This is a problem throughout the whole state. It's crumbling infrastructure that hasn't been fixed in years. We've shown it to you. A bond referendum from 1966 or whatever year that was is when these problems started, and they haven't been fixed since. And this is going on throughout the whole state. You can look on my face and all these social media sites, and you can see all these, that's my buddy Mike Nordstrom. He says my face because he's, but he, you know, listen, this is going on in communities throughout the whole state. This is Illinois American putting millions and millions and millions of dollars into crumbling infrastructure throughout the whole state, and they've went to the ICC and they got approval to try to recoup that money in higher bills. So when we talk about the water bills, they are high, and I'm in talks. I've got meetings set up with the CEO of Illinois American. I have business leaders here in town that are struggling from it with car washes and laundry services that are struggling with it. I'm having meetings with them and sitting down with the leaders of this company, sitting down with legislators, Amy Elick and Erica Harris. I've had many conversations with Senator Harris and Representative Elick over this very issue, and really starting to look at this and maybe start putting some pressure on the ICC to maybe really look at how much they've given them. So don't assume nothing is going on. Again, I don't like to give false promises. I don't like to give false hope. So when I have something concrete on that, I'll make sure I get the word out. But don't assume we're sitting here doing nothing, because we're not. We work hard every day. I do want to mention that I failed to mention a lot of my staff are here tonight. So if you work for the city of Granite City as a department head, please stand up. Thank you. Thank you, guys. These people work tirelessly every day, and they do a great job for you. And all my aldermen, they listen to some of the crazy things I come up with and some of the crazy things I want to do. This building is one of them. I listened to people in this town that said we need more to do. We need more things to do in Granite City. We need a place like this where we can come and listen to things and listen to people talk and have government and have cameras that these people can listen to us speak at home. We didn't have any of it. We didn't have any of it. So, you know, through TIF funding and through grants, we bought this building and paid for this building, and it's now, through the hard work of Ray in the back of the room that we hired to run this place for us, it is really, really starting to draw some good crowds and some good entertainment downtown. Thank you. That also translates into business for our food industry and for our bars around town. So it's all just in unison and putting taxpayers in people's pockets. So does anybody else have any other questions here tonight? You have one, okay.
I'm getting this from a lot of people, so. We had several questions. Because we had so many people tune in on YouTube, a lot of people have texted questions, and there's no way we're going to get to them all tonight. So we will get to those. We will respond to those people online. Everything is going to be online, so we can re-listen to it. And I think that wraps us up. I would like to say thank you very much for coming. I think the mayor does an amazing job of being transparent and giving all the information that he possibly can. And thankful to you guys and everything you have going on in the community as well. So I'm sure the mayor will be around if you want any one-on-one. Again, we have a quorum. We're an Open Meetings Act. No action is being taken and no conversations that are going to go on that are beyond what we talked about here. So thank you all for coming.
All right. Yeah. Thank you, guys. Great job, man. Great job. Awesome. Great job. Great job. Awesome. Very good.